One of the most fun jobs or saddest jobs has got to be polling this year. Where's Colorado going? A couple of my dear friends, Lori Weigel from Public Opinion Surveys or Strategies. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
David Flaherty from Magellan. Glad to have you.
Good to be
So
here, John.
I've got one big question as I'm seeing what's happening this year. On election night, when the results come in and I start dialing in to the suicide hotline, will it be so crowded I won't be able to get in, or do you think there'll be how long is the wait time going to be for a conservative like me on election night?
Well, we're going to get you into therapy prior to
Right.
Election Day because it's pretty clear what's coming here in Colorado. Really, Colorado has not been a swing state this entire season, despite
all this talk that it's a swing state. Colorado is a swing state. I got a sense it wasn't when I saw Hillary pull out a lot of the PAC money that was spent here. Was that a good decision on her part?
Yeah, that was a very good decision on her part. Not only did I not listen to Hillary ads on my Pandora all season long, but it also was very clear. Look, we're a highly educated state, and one of the groups.
You call me stupid? You calling me stupid?
One of the groups that clearly is acting and behaving somewhat differently this year, in particular, is college-educated women. And so I think that's why we have not been a swing state this entire season.
It was an illusion that we were a swing state to begin with.
It was
this year.
It was the media sticking to their guns and wanting to come to beautiful Colorado and report from here instead of somewhere less sublime.
You can't blame them. All right, how badly is this not a swing state this year? Do you venture a guess?
Well,
let's talk about the presidential race. What's Hillary going to win by in Colorado?
We still need to see the vote as it comes in, but I would probably expect her to tack on a couple of points on top of the Obama margin of 2012.
Really?
So I think she's going to come in around 7 or 8 points.
That's amazing
Could
for
be
a woman
worse.
that nobody really likes.
Exactly, and that's kind of the new data. I mean, since people have been returning ballots, we're up to 575,000 returned now. You can add up a lot of things that there's plenty of momentum behind Democrats. They're turning out and voting earlier in larger numbers than they ever have.
And often.
Yes, they have executed very well on adding new registrants to the rolls by a tune of more than 40,000 than Republicans. And
all right, I know you don't want to use the T word, but let me postulate. If we had a different Republican at the top of the ticket this year, would it have looked different? Start here.
Yes, clearly. This was an unusual election, primarily because of the different nominee that the Republicans put forth. And so I think Colorado would have been a swing state had anyone other than Donald Trump been at the top of the ticket.
Absolutely.
Who
Hillary's negatives are so high, John, for so early in the race. That was the one X factor that we didn't see perhaps a year and a half out. The Obama coalition in Colorado was younger voters, and younger voters were going to Bernie. They had an alternative where 4 years ago, they didn't for Obama. They stuck with Obama. They were somewhat disappointed in him, but they still hung in there. They were not moving to Mitt Romney. He was not a good enough alternative. This year, we had an opportunity lost. Hillary clearly was beatable here in Colorado if we had put up a strong alternative with a different vision of how to solve our problems that are affecting Coloradans. It didn't happen.
In the rearview mirror, out of the 17 guys who were running and one lady, who would have been the top pick to win Colorado? Just from what you guess.
Well, I'm biased on that one. So we worked for Jeb Bush, so I clearly think he would have been superior. But I mean, really what you've got this year is you've got two candidates who have historically high negative numbers. It's just you have one candidate now who has even higher numbers than the other. And so when you've got that sort of poison in the well, nobody wants to take a drink from it.
Out of the 17 characters?
I think Rubio would have done well. I applaud him for his strategy to talk more about taking on Hillary than attacking each other. Coloradans like candidates that appear to be helping all folks, and the more positive campaign that I think would have been effective. I think Cruz would have kept it tighter, but even he, I think, would have had an opportunity.
Which demographic is going to be the biggest swing here? Is it college-educated women? Is that, I mean, who will be repelled by Trump and vote for Hillary, even if they really didn't want to begin with? Is that mostly women?
Well, I think primarily yes. I mean, suburban women in Colorado decide the outcome of every statewide election, so that hasn't really changed. It's just that we have a very different dynamic, and having a woman at the top of at the top of the ticket wasn't going to be enough to change their vote. But I think certainly
we've gotten past that. I mean, I remember when Geraldine Ferrara ran, and oh my God, a female vice president. We don't really care that much anymore. Do most people? Or you're smiling? Do people do care? I mean, it's her character more than her gender, right?
I think they say they don't care, but certainly I think there's been a defense. You know, we worked against Hillary Clinton when she ran for Senate, and there were subtle things during those debates in New York, for example, that turned voters away from the Republican candidate there. And it was primarily because there was a different dynamic as a female candidate going up against a male candidate. We saw some of the exact same things play out, which Saturday Night Live had lots of fun with him stalking behind her, supposedly. But, you know, I mean, that comes across differently, subconsciously, for people when it's a woman and a man sharing the same stage.
Suicide hotline, 20-minute wait for me, or are we? All right, let's talk about the Senate race as well. The Senate race was the one lone pickup opportunity for Republicans in what was going to be a tough year. If a year ago, they would have looked at Colorado and go, that's our guy. Bennett is beatable. Was Bennett beatable?
Yes, that race could have been competitive, no doubt about it, but
and it is not competitive
No,
at
for
all.
a number of reasons. The candidate that we put up has made his own decision to campaign in counties like Washington County or Kiowa County, and I can just tell you right now, there's nothing but Republicans there. He's not engaged the middle, and he's decided to run a never-ending primary race. He is the uncompromising constitutional conservative. You will not win Colorado running on those sorts of principles. That's how you win a primary, but it's not how you win over the middle and how you win over a majority of Colorado voters. And that's what we got. It was an opportunity wasted, and there's absolutely no chance whatsoever that Michael Bennett loses on November 8th.
No, that's guaranteed. The other thing is that you have a completely unknown candidate, and
but it's not like Bennett is all that well known for a senator. I mean, all my life I've been in Colorado, and there have been senators who have kind of grabbed the imagination of Colorado. You know, I think about Gary Hart, you know, and Bill Armstrong, even Udall. You know, this guy was easier to beat than Udall.
Well, I think quiet competence is something that voters are
I would know
okay
nothing
with
about quiet or competence.
So, you know, so I think to give Michael Bennett credit, you know, he certainly got a great gift following the primary here. But, you know, they have worked hard. So,
any surprises that you see in the congressional races? 2 years ago, Mike Kaufman ran what I thought was one of the most splendid, smart congressional races ever. The seat demographics changed with redistricting. All of a sudden, the ultra-safe seat of Tom Tancredo turned into a seat that was really drawn for Democrats, and he pulled it off. And I thought this year was supposed to be his rest year. You know, he already did it, but
no rest for the weary. No, and certainly this has been a top target of the Democrats this entire year. They identified a candidate that they thought could be competitive. And there is, you know, millions of dollars pouring into this race, as anyone who's turned on a television set knows. But also, you know, Mike Kaufman is essentially skiing uphill this year, and so as many endorsements, as many strong things that campaign is doing, it is a difficult year to be in that kind of a seat.
Do you have any prediction on that one, or is that one going to be too close to call?
My crystal ball is a little fuzzy on that one, but I think that's going to be. I think we will understand what's going to happen to Congress when we see the outcome of that election.
What a lousy answer for a pollster. You're supposed to, well, all right, I'll give you a better shot. Give me a pollster answer.
I agree. It's toss-up. If
Really?
Republicans don't show up to vote...
What am I paying you people for?
I wish if they were a little bit closer, we'd have probably some more insight into some of these races. I think Mike's positioned himself as best he can.
Was it a wise political decision for Kaufman to come out early and strong against Trump to separate himself.
Yes, absolutely. In that district, sure.
Yeah, I think
so?
unfortunately what's happened is that all the voters don't realize that. And when millions of dollars are being spent against you, tying you to that candidate, no matter what you have said, how forcefully you have said it, that's an awful lot being pushed against you.
I guess the only other congressional race would be Tipton out
Correct.
west. How's that one looking?
It's closer than people would like.
Really?
Absolutely. Again, though, it's, the 3rd district has more of an advantage. There's more Republicans. The independents, the more rural Republicans, independents lean more towards Scott. And the candidate there, the Democrat candidate, really has to make a good argument why she is a better alternative than what Scott's going to do. But really, Mike's the one that's more at risk than Scott.
How important is the top of the ticket for everything else that I care about? Because I know Trump and Hillary grab all the headlines, but we're going to be dealing with a legislature here. The Republicans have one measly vote in the Senate. Do we hold? Do they hold?
Well, I think there's 2 things that we have to think about. First of all, we do have a highly educated electorate in Colorado that has shown a willingness.
Stop rubbing that in my face.
has shown a willingness to not vote straight party ticket, to dance around a little bit on their ballot and move between parties, and they've shown that to be very comfortable in that. But that said, we are clearly seeing signs that the Republican vote is not turning out in the numbers that you need. And there are some things structurally that we've had in place in past elections, things like get out the vote efforts, that simply aren't there for the Republicans this time. And
because those would usually be attached to a presidential campaign, and then the counties would help support that, and all that is
or
just
a Senate campaign like Corey in 2014.
Right.
Right. And so all of that is completely gone. And so, the number one reason that people vote is because someone asked them to. And that can be a random stranger coming to their door or calling them on the phone and asking them to vote. But what we've seen is that people vote because someone asked them to vote. And you simply have a very lopsided structure this year.
Do Republicans hold on to the Senate here in Colorado?
That's a tough question, John. I think our turnout of Republicans is going to have a lot to do with that. Stuff we've looked at, it's been very close. We've been pleased to see through September that there was not, a down ballot punishment of Republicans because of folks frustrated with Trump. They were hanging in there pretty good, but now it's going to be a tall order to hold all 4 seats. Because it all comes down to
about
4
seats in the Senate,
4 seats.
And that's it. And so. And when you get down to those numbers, it's tougher for you guys to poll because it's a smaller universe, right?
But there's enough. There's enough among our Senate districts here to have ample sample.
Yeah, but what we're seeing is that those, this is the kind of race that people clue in much later. And so even if they're being bombarded with lots of mail, they're trying to figure out exactly who these folks are.
I don't know how you people sleep at night. Lori, thank you so much. David, thank you. Listen for me on KHOW Radio. Read me in the Denver Post, and we'll see you next week.